Hi guys, you're welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be drafting this scalloping neckline or whatever it has. So we have our paper ready, we have our shoulder line, also the bust line, the half length, the under bust. So I'm marking out the bust points, the under bust point, because this is going to be a padded padded bustier. And we have lastly our waistline. So first thing first, you measure the half of your shoulder measurements divided by 2. You impute that on the shoulder line. Then we're going to mark our 3 inches neck measurement, neck width. It's mostly standard, we're actually not using it, but let it be there. Then on the shoulder line we are going to come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope. I know we know all of this, but we just have to go over it again. So you're going to connect the shoulder slope to the neck width we created already. So the next thing, we are going to create our armhole line, which is also going to serve as our chest line. So whatever works for you, you can take your armhole measurement divided by 2, or you can use the general bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. So I've gotten what I wanted for mine. I marked that. I'm marking the same shoulder line on this chest line just so I have an accurate measurement. So we're going to make that from the shoulder slope to the chest line. We're going to create a straight line. Now we're also going to extend this chest line, after which I am going to label it the chest line. Now we're going to divide this armhole line into 2. That we're going to get the midpoint, and on that midpoint you're going to go outwards with half of an inch. Then on the chest line you're going to take your bust measurement divided by 4. Then you mark it on the paper. Now these dots that we have is what we are going to create our armhole curve using our curve ruler. Whatever you have, you can use your free hand as well. We have that already. Now we're going to move to our darts. So you're going to take your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, mark it on the paper, mark it on the bust point, mark it also on the under bust point, and mark it on the waist line, after which you're going to make that into a straight line. Now on the waistline you're going to go in towards you by half of an inch, and you go towards the other side by 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. So you're also going to mark the same thing on the under bust line. Using your curve ruler, you're going to make a straight line on both measurements you just made. Then using the curve part of the ruler, we're going to create our curve. We're going to connect the bust points to the under bust, just as you can see in the video. We're also going to do the same thing for the other side. Now on the bust point, we're going to go up with half of an inch. This is just to eradicate pointy edges, so you don't have a pointy bustier or padded blouse. Then now we're going to take our measurement of the armhole curve, what we have on the armhole curve. This is because we are creating a shoulder, a princess dart. Actually, we're creating a princess dart. So whatever you have, you're going to mark half of it and you create a dot on it. Then you connect it to the bust point. That half inch you went up by on the bust point, you're going to make a connection to that place. Now we're going to create our darts for the shoulder, for the armhole dart. On that point you're going to mark 1 inch towards the right and another 1 inch towards the left. Then you connect it back to that ½ inch. I made a mistake while creating this dart, but for yours, make sure your dart gets to that ½ inch point it came up by on the bust point. Now we're going to go up by 1 inch on the lower dart, the dart that is on the downside. This is because if you don't do that, you're going to be short of fabric when you are joining. So from that is what we are going to use in creating a new armhole. I'm trying to recheck my armhole again. So I have my bust point, then I've added my 2 inches sewing allowance. So at this point I'm just using the 1 inch to create a new armhole, as you can see. So moving forward, we're going to take our waist measurement. So for the waist measurement, you take your waist divided by 4, you mark that. Then the dart intake we have, you're going to measure it. In this case it is 2 inches. You add the 2 inches back on the paper. Then you're going to add your sewing allowance. It could be 1.5 inches, it could be 2 inches, whatever works for you. Now you're going to connect the bust measurement to the waist measurement, after which we are going to move to the neck area, which is actually the purpose for this tutorial. Now for the neck, we are going to decide how wide we want our neck to be. So I'm taking the measurement from the shoulder line, so I'm just going to mark in 2.5 inches. I have that there. Then you decide what you want as the neck depth of your blouse. Here I did 6 inches. You can actually do 7, and if you want to reveal some cleavages, you can do 8 inches depending on your height or whatever your preference is. Then using a picture, I decided to just use my free hand to connect my neck width to my neck depth to the neck width mark that I created on the shoulder line. So you just do what works for you. You can even use the cover of a bottle to get your curve if you don't trust your free hand. Then I added my ½ inch shoulder joining allowance, and I went ahead to cut out the pieces, after which we're going to move to the back pattern drafting. So here is what we have. So for the pattern drafting, we go ahead to mark our zipper space first. That is important, so we don't mix things up, because it tends to happen. So I marked my zipper allowance, I made that into a straight line. Then we're going to take our measurements. I'm going to mark that zipper side as zipper. Then I'm going to mark my bust point. This is just because I'm going to need it for that. So I'm marking my bust point. Then I'm going to go ahead and make it into a straight line. After I am done, then we're going to move to the shoulder area. There is no much work on this back. There is no much work. The dart is just a normal simple dart that we used to. So now we're going to go ahead, mark our shoulder measurement divided by 2, create our shoulder slope. We have our neck measurement, neck width of 3 inches standard already marked. Connect that. Then we're going to create our armhole line, just the same way we did for the front pattern. So now I'm determining my neck depth. Decide what you want your neck depth to be for the back. So for the shoulder, for the armhole line, I've connected that. I've made that into a straight line. I'm making an extension so that I can mark my bust on it. Now we're going to create the midpoint for the shoulder armhole line. Go in by ½ inch. Then on the bust chest line, we are going to mark the bust measurement divided by 4. This is just so we can get our armhole curve. So we go ahead, connect all of the dots to get our armhole curve. Then for the darts, you take your nipple measurement divided by 2, mark it. Then on the waistline, you go in and out by ½ inch on both sides. Go inwards by ½ inch, go outwards by ½ inch, connect it back to the beginning of the dart leg and that is going to serve as our back dart. After which we're going to take our general body measurement, which is just the bust and the waist in this case. Now my bust divided by 4 has been imputed already. Then you had your sewing allowance. You go to the waistline. Do not forget, we are not starting from the zipper side, we are starting from outside of the zipper. Mark your waist measurement divided by 2, add what you have as your dart, and divided by 4 rather, add what you have as your dart and add your sewing allowance. Then go ahead to connect the bust measurement to the waist measurement. Then we go back to work on the neckline. So going by 2.5 inches just like we did for the front. Then using your curve ruler, you can use any design for the back. You can do a V, you can do a U, you can do a round, whatever works for you. But I'm just going to use my curve ruler and I'm going to connect from the shoulder line where my neck width is. I'll connect to the neck depth, my preferred neck depth, and just extend it to the zipper side. Then we're going to go ahead and cut it out. Then we transfer to your lining and fabrics, and that is all. This is all of the measurements. We have the back piece, and here is how the front piece is like. You just use it to cut the front piece.